mean, comparing this to Hot Water, the band in general is a lot more bare bones than anything we've done in the past, which is songwriting-wise anyway, and I think it's good. I feel like there's a lot less flailing around in songs. There's not as much like, dude, let's do this really fucking fucked up time signature here, just because we can. We're really focused on just writing good, rock songs, for lack of a better way to describe them, I'd say.
Well, we were driving to the studio and we needed a name and we happened to be going through DC, and it was when they were thinking about reinstating the draft and all this stuff, and it just kind of flew out, the draft, and everybody just kind of was like, yeah, it's all right.
As all names.
That's all right, whatever, I don't hate it.
All right, I don't think it does, and now it's too late if it does. We're working on stuff as a three-piece for, I don't know, probably about 6 months or so, maybe a little less. And less than that, 3 or 4 months. And realized that we needed another guitar player. For a while we were like, well, let's just try to keep it a three-piece for the ease of us all knowing how we work together and not, bringing another personality in. But we've known Todd for a long time.
We used to tour with his old band Discount, so we knew that we could get along on tour, because that's where we're going to spend most of our time in a band. Like, personalities kind of mix pretty well. He showed up to practice every day, and he's a great guitar player, and it just kind of worked out. It was easy.
We definitely need 2 guitars when we play live, at least. And then it's one of those things where I think that the three of us, having been in a band together for so long before this, it's kind of nice to have someone else. And I think it's almost necessary, because it's really easy to write the same songs over and over and over again and do the same things that you're comfortable with and used to over and over again. So I'm actually really excited to start writing new stuff and see what Todd brings to the table. Yeah, and I think if you look back at a lot of the stuff that Chris has done with other projects and the songs that he was lead vocals on in Hot Water, not all of them, but the majority of them were the more melodic stuff. And I think it's just sort of like what his songwriting and singing and stuff leans towards. And I like it too. So I don't know if it was necessarily like purposeful on any level, but it was definitely the kind of the natural direction, I guess.
He's going. Chris is becoming a better vocalist. And he can do a lot more with his voice. We're just becoming better songwriters.
Unless we get some kind of a really good opportunity to do a longer support tour, I don't think we'll be out for more than 3 weeks if we can help it, because it's not
fun after 3 weeks.
It's not fun after 3 weeks, man.
Well, it's a little too old for that.
And there's no reason for it. It's a lot, and it's not. Everybody's got home lives that they like as much as being gone, if not more, or differently, I guess. You can drive anywhere in a couple days and start a tour.
Legs. Break up the country in the legs rather than trying to do it all in 6 weeks,
This is a perfect example of we're doing the West Coast in 10 days, including travel, which is, and we're also, we're playing Santa Cruz tonight and Anaheim, so we're not really skipping out on anything at all. So it's, as much fun as we have playing and touring, and that's the only way you can make any money doing it at all. It's still, there's no reason to. I don't think it's necessary to pound yourself into the ground doing it at all.
It's home.
Yeah, that's where we were with Hot Water for a while, so we investigated some other possibilities for a while, and it just, I mean, Brett was the first one before we even thought about any of it that said, I'll put the record out, you know, and so we kind of said, cool, you know, we'll get back to you. We're not even really ready to do that right now, and it just, you know, he was the one that was still there, and they have a really great, I mean, for us, it's as important to tour internationally it is in the States, if not more so. So they have a great international just kind of setup. Makes it really easy to go to a lot of places and actually be supported and know your record's there and whatnot. So that's always been, I mean, that was one of the main reasons we went with them in the first place. And
Brett actually gives a shit. Like, he really wants us to be like career musicians. He wants us to be able to tour and play,
you know,
do whatever we want to do musically. And
they care. Home, you know? I do actually believe that people at the label care.
Yeah.
I mean, this is, you know, kind of going against punk rock in general, saying what it is and what it isn't, but I mean, these bands are just fucking hair metal bands at this point, you know, and that's fine. I liked hair metal. Like, I understand why kids like it, but it doesn't really, and it's not even, I don't think it's the old guy in me, because there's plenty of new bands that I like, but I don't really see any direct correlation between what these bands are trying to do and anything that I'm interested. Not saying that I don't want like this band to be successful or popular, but I don't want to have to act like a jackass to make it happen. It used to be a lot weirder for me when I was around people that I was really heavily influenced by, or when people said that sort of thing to me, but it's a lot more on a peer-to-peer level, I guess, now, you know. But it's always, I mean, it's nice. It's I just have to shake it in stride. I mean, it's like we're on tour with Avail, and those guys, I mean, I grew up on them and around them, so it's, you know, definitely much appreciated. But there's always that time when somebody in some band that you don't like is like, man, I love your band, you really, and you're just like, oh, really? Is that what happens if you listen to us? Like, let's just write really good songs, and then if cool shit happens, cool, but whatever.
My name's Tyler Fox, I'm 25, and I'm from Aptos, California. I've been in the ocean all my life, but my dad got me into surfing at a really young age. Started out on a boogie board at I think he got me out in Hawaii when I was 3 years old. I got into surfing when I was probably, I'd say 10 years old. My first real wave, I was like, this is the most amazing thing I've ever done. Just ended up catching a wave with Richard Schmidt, who's a local legend here in Santa Cruz, and my dad. We were at Cal's. And I'll never forget that wave. They were both on it as well, and I just kept trimming all the way, almost to the beach. So after that, I was hooked. Not like this. We're not going down. Not like this. Not like this. We're not going down. I think growing up here in Santa Cruz has been a blessing. This is the most beautiful area. I think I've traveled all over the world, and I still am in awe when I come back here and just look around and see the beauty of the place. And the waves are amazing. Not like this, not this time. It was out at the harbor, and the waves were absolutely pumping. They were going off, and I just got a little too deep on this wave and ended up falling forward in the barrel, and my board came up from below me and just pushed up and just tacoed my legs, so overly stretched my knee pretty bad. And right after that, I paddled in. I knew I was done, so I was just hoping. And then another thing is, besides that, I go in and get some ice to ice my knee, and the harbor master had a few words with me because it's actually illegal to surf out there. So he didn't write me a ticket, but he did take the profile picture of me. So I got to wear a mask next time I'm out there. The ship's not going down. The ship's not going down. The rush on a huge wave is like nothing else. When you pull out, if you finish that wave, if you make that wave, you are literally on the top of the world, man. You went through a situation that could have been deadly, and it makes you appreciate life so much more when you make it through stuff like that. So. Sit adrift for so long, so I'm calling back this SOS. This ship's not going. This ship's not going down.
Antagonist. I don't know. It's like
almost half my life.
New places, new friends.
musical freedom.
The only way that I could fully express myself, and it's my baby.
It rules.
It's just a lot of fun.
Antagonist got its start in me and Lon here. We were in the 9th grade and we met in gym class, and we both liked kind of similar bands, and we decided to jam.
Nothing was ever official.
We met him in high school, and we wanted another guitar player because, like I said, we like the Metallica kind of dual guitar things going, and that's me and his favorite band, me and Matt's favorite band. So we added him, and then some troubles happened with our old bass player. So Paul kind of tell him the story.
The bass player did not show up, so I took my bass and played their songs, but wasn't plugged in. So I basically did all the solos for the night. Kids thought I shred, but
He wasn't playing. He just said, "Hey, let me pretend to play with you guys," and then he
Kids
ended
are
up being,
retarded.
yeah, and then he ended up being our bassist that way.
like
so
2 months later.
we started when we were 14, so it's like there've been a lot more influences in our music, and architecture actually was a lot of those songs were written when we were like 16, 17. So like compare that to the new album. Most of the new album was written, we were already kind of established, at least in our town. We had started touring, and like that whole album was written in a span of maybe a year and a half. So it was a lot more, like less time to write it, and we got signed. So we're like, okay, now we got to put out a record. So it was a little more rushed, but I think it has like a lot more of our sound, what we are now, and it's definitely progressed and evolved, and it's gonna keep doing that. Lyrically, I deal with a lot of issues on religion and like a lot of socio-political issues that I'm pretty interested in. Taking classes in college and stuff really kind of made me more interested in that kind of stuff. I was a religious studies minor, so that was like a big deal to me. I guess just life in general is an inspiration to our music, just the stuff we go through. It's not serious 100% of the time. So make sure we show people that we like to have fun too. We're big dorks, so. It was kind of a weird thing. We got signed right after I graduated. That was the big thing, like the big point, like, okay, now next level, we got to take Antagonist next level. I had school, so, we didn't have as much time to go on the road or whatever. We could do weekend things, but since I graduated, like, it seemed like after that, it seemed like labels knew or something, because like a few labels hit us up, and then we finally signed, and
We all quit work.
yeah. So after that, we pretty much, that's when we decided to start touring. You're stuck in a van, eating dollar menu every day, sleeping on floors of people that you barely met, but you got to be with your best friends like day after day, playing 30 minutes every night. It's not that much, of actual music, but it's fun. It's like it's a vacation. It's
It's awesome, and I would recommend anyone to start a band or just to start playing music, because it's probably the best thing you could do to yourself in your life. Period.
Like I said, I think it's just more about the music. I just put the label on the CD, just put it out, and it's SAF Records, and it's really all about the bands.
I wanna be bigger than medicine, a real red menace, man. I'll be in the biggest band with all of the baddest fans, like my parents said you can. Everyone said you can. And I wanna be bigger than Jesus, man. Jesus' plan says Jesus can't. You try harder than you tried before. Brother, don't bother if you're gonna snore.
Well, it started as a film photography label back in 1998. I did so much photography that I just kind of labeled all my projects as strictly amateur films, doing stuff like that. And then 2001 came around, and like my band Syntax Transfer Theory had a 12-inch because we were kind of looking for a couple labels, and then we just decided to put it out ourselves, and we just slapped the logo on there, Strictly Amateur Films. And then from there, it didn't turn into SAF Records till a couple years ago, and we decided once we started getting into distribution deals, and we finally hooked up with Red Eye Distribution. So then people just kind of censored the name Strictly Amateur Films. They either called it Strictly Amateur or Strictly Amateur Records, and then we just were like, fuck, we'll just call it SAF Records.
I am the decline, I'm the decline. I am the decline, I'm the decline.
Our first 7-inch came out in like '95, and which was like an old band when I was in high school, and so I just always knew the aesthetics of like how to put out records, and and I just loved how people helped me when I was in a band, so I just wanted to help bands that I love, you know, just start a label and help them all out. And I think the first real band after the Syntax that we did was Dosage Usage, which is like members from Plot to Blow Up the Eiffel Tower and Demonstrations. Right now we have, which was Dosage Usage, we have the Meishi, which was like our second, third release, you know, who are on Kill Rock Stars, 5RC. And then from there we did like Demonstrations, who are now on GSL, which are an amazing band, half from San Diego, half from Tokyo. They're amazing. Just signed Die Die Die, who are from New Zealand, and Shows the Rainbow, who's on tour right now, which, you know, and then of course the Slits, a band from the late 70s, you know, I mean, they only put out a couple LPs and just became like a legend, like after that, and just being involved with the Sex Pistols and, you know, stuff like that. And, you know, their name just, I mean, after they broke up, they, you know, I mean, they set the foundation for like girls and bands and just like Riot Girl type stuff. I don't want to say like Riot Girl, but, you know, like bands like Bikini Kill. And the Slits got back together and they pretty much didn't want to work with a major label anymore. So, I mean, we had the distribution and it made sense. So she gave us the record and we put it out. And even though it's only a 3-song EP, it's just, I mean, it's still amazing.
You sit up there deciding my future. What the fuck do you think you are? Changing buses, raising taxes, doing things as you please. You want me to take part of it like all the people did. You want to swallow me, but your mind can digest it.
Our bands are pretty much everywhere. That's how we get our word out, you know, and then they help get the word on SAF, like wherever they be from, you know. Die 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 is from New Zealand, part of Demonstrations is from Tokyo, and like Meishi's from LA, and like I said, Providence, Shows the Rainbows from Nebraska, Honey Handers from Providence, Yip Yip, Florida. They're great kids, like everyone we sign, you know. And we got the Process Records too, which is another label. I started up with Joel. We have Arsonist Get All the Girls and just did the Moria CD, so grew up on like hardcore, you know, like it was just, I was in hardcore bands, and I kind of, not that I want to keep hardcore bands off SAF, it's just, I don't know, sometimes things just evolve that way, you know, because I don't want to say SAF is so much like a indie label, but like more experimental, because I mean, I love all kinds of music, you know, but I think it's more befitting to have like a hardcore type label for like these bands and just like a set genre, just because SAF is like all over the place.
I have developed that blank stare of confinement. I am taking a bus in suburban Pomona.
I just sit behind the computer and do as much as I can for these bands and make sure the records come out on time and make sure we get the press and the promotion and the advertisement, but I'm definitely not in it for the money. So, you know, I work hard, you know, I work full-time making pizza, and, you know, that's what I love to do. Music. Pizza's making's fun too, but. Die 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 is gonna be out February 6th, be in stores everywhere, actually Canada and US. Then Shows the Rainbow will be out April 3rd in stores, and we're still working on the Junius date, but I think it's probably be around the summertime. And we have a 10-inch/CD coming out for Michaela's Fiend with Twin, which is two amazing bands from Seattle. And after that, we're hoping to do a record for We Be the Echo, which is a band from San Francisco, like this prog band, which is amazing. So we're looking to sign them, hopefully. And I think that's pretty much gonna set our year up, you know, for now. And we'll just roll into 2008 and see what happens from there.
We're Vale from Richmond, Virginia. Hello, West Coast. We're East Coast. Hi.
Doing an interview. Sorry, what? See, look, assholes don't want to be in it, but they want to fucking comment on everything. What prompted the move? Joe is forever getting wild hair up his ass, and him and Tim went down to Richmond one weekend because it was far enough that their parents and our parents couldn't show up and just unannounced, but it was still close enough that we could go back up there and take food whenever we wanted. But they went down to the downtown area and saw like, I think like Nuclear Assault was playing someplace and Faith No More was playing another place, and they're walking around at 2 o'clock and crazy metalheads are ripping trees out of the ground and lighting them on fire, and pretty much I think Joe pretty much looked at Tim and said, if you want to keep this band together, we're moving. And then they came back up on like Sunday and everybody was like, so how was Richmond? And like, well, we're moving. You want to stay in this band, you got to go with us. When we first moved there, it was really, really small and really, really close knit. Like there was only a few bands that had really come out of Richmond before we, and I don't want to make that sound weird, but before we moved there, that anybody knew about, like White Cross and Guar. And there wasn't a lot of bands that people knew about, but there was tons of bands going on, like Four Walls Falling, and bands that would move down there, Device, and Greta that's in Moby's band now. Like, I mean, there was all this crazy shit going on, and it was just a lot easier to be part of a scene, you know what I mean? And I think smaller towns and smaller places as opposed to like New York and Chicago and Austin, SF and LA. I think smaller towns, they're more pure about actually wanting to just play music. They don't care what it's called. They don't care. We didn't ever care what it's called, but nobody cares what it's called. Nobody cares if you like it. It's just like, hey, some dumbass is gonna book us in their basement 200 miles away. Let's go do that.
This was Richmond, there would be blood.
Yeah, we're from the South. We like being from the South. Most of the band will listen to country music also. We don't really care if we like it. So the Southeast has always we've always stereotypically done really well. We've always had a lot of fun there. A lot of the Southeast really embraced us. And then when we went up into the Northeast, it was really funny because it makes no sense. There was rednecks in like New Jersey that were just like, fuck yeah, man, y'all are the best. And it's just like, what are you talking about? So I think as a whole, like the East Coast really accepted us. And then when we finally made our way out here, and I don't think people were really receptive to that for a long time. So the first couple of times we went over, it was pretty rough. But now it's actually a lot of fun. Like, I mean, if you think people in like, Albuquerque, New Mexico have no idea what we were doing 10 years, Europeans had absolutely no idea what the fuck we were doing, Like 15 years ago when you had full sleeves and you had big holes in your ears and you're just jumping around like an asshole and, your friend was just like, hey, look, he's tiny and through, I mean, people were like, what the fuck are you guys doing? So the first couple years it was kind of rough, people spitting at us and trying to take swipes at me on stage and blaming us for McDonald's because, we all own stock. How America was the big corporate bullshit, and we were just like, dude, we have nothing to do with that. We're playing in a squat in Bologna.
I would like to point out that
one of the worst shows ever. It was the first tour that Guamper came with us in Europe. The first tour, and he was just like, this is fucking great, this is amazing, it's crazy, because they feed you at shows, like they're real hospitable. It was before the wall came down, so getting in was just miserable. And we go over there, and we go to like this, it was like a jean factory or something, but it was like a wholesale outlet, but then underneath it was like this really shit-ass little tiny, horrible club thing. It was just insane. And they pull up and they're like, okay, well first we'll go get we'll go get your food and everything. And we pull up and they have these little tiny bowls like this big filled with this weird gruel stuff. And Guam was just like, man, that was great. Wonder what's next. And we were all laughing because we're like, dude, that's it. We're fucked. Like bubbling water with mid gas. You had to shake it up and get all the water out. It was fucking miserable. We had a great time, but I think it sucked. Yeah, there's always been favorite places to play. And every place is fun. There's certain little bullshit places that we play. Like I loved playing at John Hiltz's basement. The drummer for Born Against and Grey House and all those bands. Everybody would play in his basement. It was like Lifetime, Born Against, Avail, and like 3 other bands. It was like $3 and everybody hung out in his basement. Like that was fucking awesome. I mean, We got snowed in there for 3 days, and we hung out with Universal Armageddon, and goofed on them, and they didn't understand what we were doing. And so say you can play a venue that's 3,000 people and you get $10 a head, 50% of that's going around for dudes walking around and pushing buttons. It's just garbage. And then you got to deal with a barricade, and you got to fight with the promoter about, hey, you know, I don't want this, and then you got to go back after you fought with the promoter, then you have to fight with the actual venue about it. And, okay, well, what about if kids get up on stage and blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, if 3 times they're up on stage and we can recognize them, then we can throw them out, you know? And it's like, there's just so much bullshit to deal with. But as opposed to like coming to the bottom of the hill and us going, hey, Rona, hey, Kathleen, how you guys doing? Good, good, good. All right, cool. Do you want us to set up now? Or okay, cool. All right, what time are we playing? You write down a little scrap of paper, we go, cool. We tell everybody we're done. It's easier that way.
What's in the play? What's in the play about? What's in the play? What's in the play about? Let it go, it's not so simple. What's in the play? What's in the play about? What's in the play? Another hero. What's in the play? What's in the play about?
Played Hellfest about 2 years ago, which was retarded. I mean, it would, yeah, if you're worried about PowerPoints, it's fucking awesome. There's tons of bands, there's tons of cool shit to look at. Everybody's wearing pink and black, you know, everybody's pretty, you know, yeah, from that standpoint, it was awesome. I thought it was the biggest pile of shit we've ever played in my entire life. A, you can't drink in a place that's supposed to be playing punk music, fuck you. You can't smoke, fuck you. You put DRI, one of the punkest bands in the world, on the Hot Topic stage, fuck you. Yeah, what the fuck does it makes me angry. It's the only store in the world that makes me angry. And I got on stage with a cigarette and a fifth, and I said, fuck you guys for putting DRI on the Hot Topic stage, and we immediately got banned. There's a lot of people like super crazy punk rock guys, green mohawks, charged, that are worried about sound stand and points on the back end and all that stuff. And yeah, I think that's a lot of garbage, but I think for the most part, it's just the older you get, the more disassociated you get from the punk rock scene, because the punk rock scene is about kids. It really is. And when you're 36 years old, you're no longer a kid. You might act like an idiot, but you're not a kid.
Found any like new fans from really, really crazy locations like Zimbabwe or something that you've never been anywhere near or toured anywhere near, is can't figure out how the hell they possibly got your music?
Yeah, pretty much everywhere we go that we're not from. And anywhere so we go that people are like, dude, I love your band and check this out. And you're like, what are you doing, man? I mean, sure, if it's my friend that I've known my entire life that has an Avail tattoo, sure, that makes sense to me. I have a friend in Leeds, like we're really good friends, and on the front of one shin it says Avail, and then on the other shin it's the Big Dixie guy. I mean, we're great friends, but I was just like, what the fuck were you thinking, dude? I mean, sure, Minor Threat, DRI, Exploited, you know, like a big punk band. Avail? Right. Makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, that was fun.
We've always said it, like when we decide that we don't want to play anymore or don't really like the music we're writing, we just won't do it anymore. So we don't have any plans to not do it anymore, but we don't have any plans really to do it anymore. Like, you know, it's like, all right, well, you guys want to get together and play some music? Yeah, sure, you know, and we play music, and there was a point where we did it strictly for fun, and then it kind of become businessy, and we kind of did it as a job for a bunch of years, and now we all kind of have lives outside of the band, so now it's more towards the fun. We're just gonna, it's basically an excuse to get really drunk every night for like 10 days.
We're Avail from Richmond, Virginia. This is our last song. Thank you so much. Let's fucking do this. Come on, please.
We don't really think that anything we've ever done was wrong. It might have sucked, but it wasn't wrong.
That's how I escape my certain fate.